from the team that beat Frankston, as the umpire slams the ball into the middle of Highgate Reserve and gets us underway. And Akol Deng on debut gets the first hit out. Ball falls to ground level, taken away by Gentili. Now it came out to Tui, the second gamer. His kick up to the wing will be intercepted by Gadsby. Chips it over the top and finds Toner. Outer side of the ground, brings it back inboard. And he's in the hands of Polson, who brings it to Greiser, wrapping around the outside. Lovely kick to half forward. Mark should have been taken there by Gadsby. That creates the turnover. Gentile got it across now to the 1-2 through Gillard. His kick towards half forward is spot on. And the mark is taken about 45 metres out directly in front for Coburg. And they can have a golden chance through Dintinasante.
He loves to kick a goal, as Josh Dintinasante, but won't Noah Gadsby be slapping himself across the face there? An easy entry into the 50 from Williamstown. And
it was a beautiful kick, wasn't it? Inboard, but not as good as Gentile's kick, which has hit Dintinasante lace out. Averages a goal a game across 31 games. Didn't kick one against Sydney last week in that 41-point defeat.
And last year he was unusually inaccurate, was Josh Dintinasante. Kicked 7 goals, 12. I think
at one stage he had 1-9. From right on the 50, Dintinasante hits it beautifully. Perfect start to Rigger's 100th game. Coburg with the opening goal, Josh Dintinasante.
And they'll be happy with that, Coburg, because if they do have a weakness in their game, in my view, it's their ability to hit the scoreboard. Last year, they averaged under 8 goals a game. So an early goal for them will certainly get their confidence up.
Round the grounds, a couple of thrillers going on, Dan. 20 minutes into the last quarter up at Brighton Homes Arena. Collingwood 14-8-92 leading Brisbane Lions 14-8-92 leading Collingwood 13-6-84. And at the 5-minute mark of the last quarter at Arden Street, it is North Melbourne 9-9-63 over Carlton 8-11-59. So terrific Good Friday football. There's another one to take place later on this afternoon, starting in about half an hour's time. Port Melbourne up against Frankston. Should be a ripper at ETU Stadium. Keogh wins the tap this time. Fordham tries to step through traffic, can't do so. Charging off the line was Rowland. He couldn't pick it up, the second gamer, and he ends up giving away a free kick. It'll be taken by Stoddart, the ex-Dolphin, out wide to Philpott. Wonderful tackle. He's lucky not to be holding the ball there. That was beautifully done by the Lions. They look well and truly on today. Hand pass over the top. Bromell to Dintinasante. Fed it out wide to Ernst. He kicks inside forward 50, looking for the open goal. It's going to bounce there. Wonderful football, Lions. And Caleb Ernst on debut kicks a goal with his first kick. That is sensational.
What a great feeling that'll be for Caleb Ernst. But once again, coming off the back of a Williamstown turnover, just a little bit sloppy. I think it might have been Riley Stoddart with the kick. And they've been able to punish Williamstown in the opening few minutes here, Coburg.
2-0 in favour of the Lions here at Highgate Recreation Reserve. Debutant Caleb Ernst. What a way to kick your VFL career off for the boy from Strathfield Say and the Pioneers.
From Strathfield Say, as you say, Strathfield Say have had a few players come into this VFL competition over the last few years.
Yeah, the Storm, they were about 15 or 16 years ago, they were really struggling to survive. They were getting beat by 50, 60, 70 goals, if I remember rightly, and now they're producing players left, right and centre, which is wonderful to see. Deng jumped before acceptances, but held his line and won the tap. Now there's a free kick being paid just off the contest, and it's coming back to Fordham. Looked nervous last week until a third quarter goal settled him down against his old club. Started well here, chips it out to Greiser, kicks inside 50, and nice use of the body from Jovan Petrick, and he will go back and line up for goal from 35 metres out.
Really impressive from a young player. He's not even 20 years of age, is Jovan Petrick. Played in the Keilor Premiership last year in the Essendon District Football League, and that was smart, just being able to work his opponent under the football.
So from Keilor, as you said, the Western Jets, 44 goals in 31 games for the Jets. So he certainly knows how to kick them. He didn't get one on debut for Williamstown last week. He has kicked this one nicely, and he's got it. Lovely finish from Jovan Petrick. And Williamstown get their first on the board early in this first quarter. We're off to a great start this game.
Well, there we go. We've had Caleb Ernst. Now we've had Jovan Petric.
First VFL goal for him as well.
Kick their first VFL goals in a matter of minutes. So if you want to get your tail up in this game, get a goal on the board early.
Collingwood back within 3 points against the Lions at the 24-minute mark of the last quarter. North Melbourne by 4 over Carlton at the 8-minute mark. So we'll keep a close eye on those as they head down towards the finish line. But this game is off to a rocking start. 2-1 in favour of the Lions. And Deng up against Keogh again. They're going to come from the same direction here. They prefer the wrestle. Neither of them got a tap. Bromell came across from Footscray, got the hand pass out to Toohey, chips it out wide to the wing. Nice kick gets to Brown. Henry Brown plays on, goes towards half forward. Juggling effort, almost marked, not quite by Will Bella, who's changed numbers this year. And it's out of play.
Yes, principally played as an undersized ruckman last year to Will Bella. He's a big-hearted player, isn't he? He has a real crack.
He is. He is a genuine key forward, centre-half forward. So with Cooper Keogh coming in, that gives him the opportunity to go back into the forward line. Reaches over the top there, Keogh, and won the tap. Caught and pinned to him there, the ball on Collier Dawkins, and he's gone. Advantage quickly taken, kick inside 50. At the bootlaces there, it was of Ebinger. He lost possession of the ball, or it's Minton Connell, in fact, who swings around the corner onto the right boot. Chips inboard. Conway had his ball intercepted. Fordham goes on the 1-2 with Liam Conway. Brings it across the half-back line. Nice kick to Stoddart. And Riley Stoddart will see an option coming out of defence in O'Dwyer. The last of the 3 Musketeers that played so well last year in defence for Williamstown. He went back inboard to Stoddart. Chips it back into the middle of the ground. They're just looking to hold onto the footy now. Luke Parks. The switch is completed to the outer side. Already wearing the strapping on the head, Joel Fitzgerald, after his big collision last week against Frankston. Blake Coleman back to Fitzgerald. Goes inside 50 with the kick just over the head of Petric on this occasion. Caught with the football. Did he get a boot on it, Reece Galvin? Umpire said play on. Quick kick is scrambled out towards the boundary line. And Henry Brown and Joel Fitzgerald will both lose to the white chalk.
Yeah, nice patient build up there by Williamstown. They're prepared to chip the ball around. We saw that last week in the Frankston game. They are prepared to be patient and just wait for the right option.
Half forward here for Williamstown. They trail by a goal. Deng taps it down into the path of Gadsby. Got it back to Fitzgerald. Over the top, Gadsby again. Goes by hand. Collier Dawkins chips over the top. A fumble from Conway, but he got it to Coleman. Flipped it back over the top again. Conway's caught. How'd he get rid of it? Illegally. Great tackling by the Coburg defence. And it's Big Cooper, the ruckman. Took the free kick, gave it off to Toohey quickly. Sent it out to half-back. Henry Brown and Fitzgerald. Brown did well, got it to a teammate, and then back to Toohey through the hands there of Trudgeon. What a great pickup he is for Coburg. Oh, took the mark and then played on. You are gone. And Blake, it's Coleman lets him know all about it. He tries to milk a 50. Not going to get there. That is, in fact, Aidan Bonner. His first involvement in the game. Wins a free kick. Corey Rich, great to see him back in the VFL. Ignored Phil Pott, great kick that is to Fordham. Had to stretch to get there, but did. Spears it to half forward.
Oh, wow.
Long stretch by McLaughlin, wins the free kick for tunnelling. That hurt. That really hurt the tailbone there, I think.
You'll be seeing plenty of that today from Brodie McLaughlin. Likes to lead up at the football. He's a super fit athlete.
So McLaughlin set up the sealer last week, kicks into the pocket. Good mark for the Lions in the last line of defence, taken by Galvin, the Casey Demons recruit. Brought it inboard to Trudgeon. Across to the back pocket. Toohey. Brings it out to half-back. Juggling effort. Mark not taken there for the Lions. Fitzgerald picks it up after Bella put it down. Sent it backwards, and now the long kick inside 50. Numbers are with Coburg. A fumble there from Toohey. Puts himself under a little bit of pressure. Up to the task there was Charlie Beasley. Got it back to Toohey. Chips it into the pocket. Nicely done, and it's with Kennedy. They want to move the ball quickly, don't they? Here's Corelliano, the 100-gamer for the first time. The skipper. Generous applause from the outer pocket. Not the best of kicks. Ball brought to ground there by Gadsby. They've got the numbers. Corelliano butters up. Brings it inboard. Nicely done to Sturgis. He'll go with the switch. It's over the head of Galvin, but he's got time to track it towards our broadcast position. McLaughlin tracks him, but Galvin is good enough. Not so much with the kick. Doing well to get in there and make the spoil. There looked like it was Sarong, the Box Hill recruit. Philpott got it across to Toner. He kicks towards half forward. Taken here now by Beasley. He's under the pump and he might be gone here. Can he get rid of it? Yes, he is gone. And Charlie Beasley will give the free kick to Corey Ellison, who was so good in the first half last week with 3 goals. Went in short to Paulson, put himself under pressure and then had to scrubber the kick to inside 50.
Good hands.
Oh, wonderful handball that is. And the Lions are away again here. McKenzie through the middle of Highgate Reserve, has a bounce, kicks it down to the lead of Waitman, back with the flight of the ball. Just needed a good bounce, did not get one. And neither did Greiser, and that allowed Waitman to get back in there and wins a free kick for high contact. Well, that ball just did not want to follow the script, did it? And in the end, the first player who should have got it ended up getting it.
Well, you can see Coburg are trying to play this run-and-gun, slingshot type of game, get a lot of numbers back in defence, and then they are a speedy side, so they'll try and get Williamstown on the fast break.
Steps around onto the right boot, Waitman, and kicks the goal. He's got his first. The Lions have 3, and they lead by 18 points. But that was a great passage of play, Dan, right down the ground from the Lions. Rigoni with the handball in the middle just got them away, and this run-and-gun style, I'm loving seeing it so far.
Yeah, they're an exciting team, Coburg. Look, you will see mistakes from them. We have seen it in the past, but they do like to take the game on.
8 disposals already for Donovan Tui for Coburg, the second gamer. Joel Trudgeon with 4, Max Kennedy and Flynn Gentili with 3. Will Fordham has 5, Stoddart 4 and O'Dwyer 3 for the Seagulls.
Yeah, Donovan Tui, the young man from Fitzroy, who are now playing in the Premier Division in the amateur competition. His great-grandfather, Jim Tui, played in the 1913 Fitzroy Premiership side, so he's got some real links to Fitzroy.
Well, Lions blood running deep there, isn't it? Nice bounce again. Keogh thumps it into open space. Who's going to run onto this one? It was nicely done by Liam Conway working with Greiser. Brought it out towards the wing. Fordham ran hard to provide the option. He'll hold things up. Goes in short back to Conway, who started well after missing selection last week. Will concede to Bonner. And into the middle of the ground now to Greiser, who will have to hurry. He was in 2 minds, gave it to Paulson, said it's your problem now, Skip. Cam Paulson goes towards half forward. Good use of the body there by Rich. Couldn't gather it cleanly though, and the hand pass is a bit wild out in front of McLaughlin, and it's out of play.
So what we're seeing is that Coburg almost prepared to give up that chip kick from Williamstown in their defence or around the middle of the ground, because Coburg are prepared to get numbers back in their 50 to defend that long kick in.
Fordham being watched closely there by Lachlan Walker and has given away the free kick for shepherding, I think you'll find. Will Fordham. Is it? No, it's going to go to Ellison out of the ruck. So I was watching the Fordham contest. He was being well and truly corralled away from getting to that ball.
That might be Jovan Petrick.
It is Jovan Petrick. Corey Ellison wore 24 last year, so that's what got me on that one. Jovan Petrick, who has already kicked a wonderful set shot goal in this opening quarter. You know, kick from 47 metres out. Angle not enough to can be concerned about. He will set it on its way. He's hooked it a little bit, but it's swinging back on the breeze. Doesn't quite have the carry. And it's thumped through for a rush behind to the Seagulls. 1-1-7. Coburg 3 straight 18.
Sometimes with these key forwards, you see their physique will take years to develop, but Jovan Petrick, he's already there, I reckon. He's not even 20 years of age, and he's got a big body already.
He's a man-child, isn't he? It was a surprise in some quarters that he wasn't drafted, as this kick from Riley Stoddart ricocheted off Kyle Waitman. The boundary umpire said it was above the knee, and it'll be thrown in. Absolute ripper up at Brighton Homes Arena. 34 minutes into the last quarter. It's the Lions by 2 points.
Wow, they've led all game too.
They have. Keep an eye on that. North Melbourne was headed, but they're back in front by 5 against Carlton. As Akol Deng got to the front. Gentili, how good is that? Straight through he goes. Has a bounce, could have another one. Decided to put it into the path of Dintina Sante. O'Dwyer over the top, big fist. Thumps it out towards the boundary line. Henry Brown tracks it with Mitten Connell for company and sees it out of play for a throw in.
It's good to watch when a midfielder gets the ball on the move at a stoppage like Flynn Gentili did then. Just unable to kick it to the favoured side. And Finbar O'Dwyer, who's such a reliable defender, very calm, composed defender. He's lost a couple of his bandmates, though, hasn't he, Finbar O'Dwyer, this year? A couple have gone to the AFL.
Back to the AFL. Unfortunately, Oscar McDonald hurt his knee in his first game, so he's facing a bit of a break. But Marty Hoare back playing for Melbourne again, which is great to see. As we see a tackle put on Brown there by Gadsby. Hand pass came up. Gentili tumbles a kick towards full forward. Ernst has already kicked a goal on debut. Had to scrubber a handball out of there under pressure. High contact, it looked like there on Fitzgerald. It fell to Waitman. Snap out of the pack towards goal.
No touch, I believe.
Touch called by the field umpire. All the Williamstown hands were saying touched. And the field umpire acquiesced because I reckon the goalie was giving that a goal.
Nonetheless, they're looking dangerous, Coburg.
They're looking very dangerous indeed. And there is Corelliano getting in front of Ellison with authority to golden fist it over the fence.
Jenny, if you look at some of the numbers so far, it's Williamstown that are leading. 58 disposals to 43, but it's Coburg who've been really efficient. They've only gone inside 55 times.
Steadying goals to Brisbane Lions and North Melbourne as Fordham receives the hand pass. Got it across to the advantage here of Josh Brown. Kicked the sealer last week. Kick inside 50. McLaughlin couldn't take the mark. Sturgis went on the 1-2 with Tui. Fed it over the top. He's still going Sturgis, but he was missed on that occasion by Rigoni. That creates a problem. Williamstown with the turnover. Snap around the corner came from Stoddart. High ball straight up the chimney. Ebbinger drops the chest mark when it came down. Coleman through traffic out of the middle of nowhere. He's got it. Oh, Blake Coleman. He was very quiet last week on debut, but that is the sort of stuff he can do, and he's got the second goal on the board for the Seagulls.
Yeah, once again, we talk about Coburg limiting their mistakes in their defensive half. Just another errant handball there. And as you said, you don't want to give Blake Coleman a sniff. He only had the 6 disposals last week. I don't think he kicked a goal either, Brendan.
No, he was very, very conspicuous by his absence last week.
Can be a tough ground, that Frankston ground for
small forwards, yes.
An unusual shaped ground, very narrow.
And being a half-forward flanker too, the half-forwards are usually bypassed pretty quickly, aren't they?
Yes, whereas this ground here at Highgate, I would say it's probably more of a traditional football oval.
Yeah, good size, isn't it? As Collingwood gets a goal back, and it's 2 points again. 37 minutes are gone in the last quarter up there.
Well, we often see long quarters in the VFL, don't we?
Yeah, Robbo's usually the timekeeper. Hello, mate. If you're watching, he's probably preparing for Frankston's game. Collier Dawkins handball. He doesn't miss any whistle from the umpire to stop the clock. He's the best in the business. Here's Robbo as it's one down there by Akol Deng. He might get it through again. Fed the hand pass to Triffett, who tumbled a high kick towards half forward. Toner was never going to be a chance. Gentili through traffic. How smooth was that? Sent the kick out towards the wing. Ernst is the man there with Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald will end up keeping his feet, but he's caught by Waitman as soon as he gathered the football. Gave it out to Stoddart. He gets around onto the left boot, hooks it back towards half forward. Over the head there of Ebbinger and off hands out of play.
Yeah, he's a big watch for me, is Riley Stoddart. I've mentioned him a few times, number 15 for Williamstown. He's a high possession gatherer. Averaged 25 disposals last year for Frankston, coming off half back, and he's already had 7 today.
Of course, former Sydney Swan, probably unlucky to lose his spot at that time, but there were a lot of players of that same ilk on the list, and he was the one that unfortunately fell out the back as we see a ball up called.
We talk about the Williamstown / Frankston connection. There are a number of players here today for Williamstown who did play at the Dolphins. We'll go through that later.
There was 5 last week who played against them. Cox not there today. as the kick goes towards half forward here for Williamstown. Triffett kept it in front of himself. Coleman picked it up, speared inside to Rich. He got himself a metre. Greiser is all on his own, and Rich has ignored that, and he's decided that this is my job, and I'm going to go back and have a crack at it.
Well, talking of ex-Frankston players, Corey Rich.
Yeah, played 36 games for the Dolphins. This is his 23rd for Williamstown. Spent last year back at Old Haileybury in the VFL before deciding that his VFL career wasn't done. Very deliberate over this approach. As he comes in from 48 metres out, it's off to the left, I fear, and one behind is the result. Margin comes back to 5 points in favour of Coburg. And it's all over up in Queensland. The Brisbane Lions have beaten Collingwood by 2 points, 16-9-105 to 16-7-103 in a cracker. Up towards the wing it goes here at Highgate, and the mark is taken there. Was that by Stoddart. And he goes short and finds Philpott. Max Philpott playing his 41st game now. He's starting to rack a few up. He found RCD here. Riley Collier-Dawkins onto the right
nice
boot.
hit.
That is a brilliant pass. Great vision, and Jack Toner only had to stand there and let it whack him on the chest.
Well, that's impressive. Not only can Riley Collier-Dawkins win his own football in the middle of the ground, formidable combination that Will Fordham and Riley Collier-Dawkins, two big-bodied midfielders.
And Toner's developed into a good midfielder too. Now, he's only kicked 2 goals in 37 games, but one of those was a lovely set shot from a very similar position last Friday night. And he has repeated the dose.
Yeah.
Wonderful kick from Jack Toner, and Williamstown hit the lead for the first time at the 22-minute mark of the opening quarter.
Well, terrific ball use once again by Riley Collier-Dawkins, or RCD as you call him, the ex-Richmond midfielder. Went back and played at Woodville West Torrens last year, Brendan.
He did, yes. 10 games over there at the Eagles. Decided to come back to Victoria this year, and I believe there was about 6 clubs who were clamouring for him.
And so they should. You don't get 6'3" midfielders like him too often. He was really instrumental in that last quarter against Frankston last week when the game was on the line, you'd say.
He judged as best on ground by the coaches, was Riley Collier-Dawkins last week. So can Coburg answer here? Keogh with the tap. Brommel. There's a whistle here, a holding free kick. He was held before the ball came to him, Hugo Brommel. Former Bulldog. Played 5 games there last year. Oh, Mark was put down by Tui. That creates a problem. Brommel has to go back in and provide some support. Cariliano provided the shield. Brommel kicked inside 50. Dintinasante out the back. His kick on the left boot didn't find purchase. O'Dwyer got it off to Parks. Now to Bonner. And he will, well, he'll turn back inside because he had nowhere to go. He handed it off to O'Dwyer, who brought it out towards the wing. Ebinger has to make the spoil. Trying to keep it in play here is Lockie Walker, and it'll be a ball up.
And they'll need to keep this pressure up, Coburg. Williamstown have some really poised defenders who can make good decisions in defence.
Those 2 ex-Dolphins, Stoddart and Fordham, with 8 each for Williamstown, leading the way. Brommel, how good is this? He couldn't quite, could he? No, he couldn't. He hits the belly of the football, ends up further away from where it started, and it's out of play. It would have been some sort of goal from there.
Just another comment on the conditions, Brendan. I'm not sure if you've seen too many games here at this ground in the last few years, but it tends to blow a gale, a very open ground. So thankfully, we've got a nice day here today.
Absolutely perfect for football. The players may feel it's a little bit warm at high 20s, but it's absolutely ideal. And where else would you be than watching this? If you're not here, I hope you're enjoying it on the VFL app. Or afl.com.au, of course, as we have a secondary ball up. Deng won it down. Forced out of the contest was Rowland. Ball struggling to get through, but in the end it was forced out of there by Trudgeon. Flicked out wide, however. Fordham decided to turn back inside and he lost his footing. Ebinger gets around one. Conway was sold up the river by the hand pole. And the umpire is going to circle and sweep the arms. And that is once again terrific defence at half forward, as it were, for Coburg. And they win the free kick again through Braden Gillard.
I think Jamie Cassidy-McNamara mentioned that at quarter time. Their ability to put pressure on this Williamstown team has been excellent so far.
They're certainly up and about for the skip, aren't they? As Gillard sends a kick in towards full forward. O'Dwyer juggles, drops it. Oh, good work there by Dintinasante. He thought about the kick, then went for the handball through the traffic. And
what's happened here?
It's a holding the ball. Well, the decision has been made that Aidan Bonner jumped on it and dragged it in. He is incredulous, but Caleb Ernst has a chance to kick 2 goals in his first VFL quarter.
Now, I'd say to Caleb, get in his ear, a little bit right to left here in my view.
That's the way he's angling Caleb Ernst. Well, it was right to left, but not. It probably didn't need to hook quite that much.
He had the Marbior Chol walk-in run-up, but unfortunately he hooked it to the left.
So scores level late in the opening quarter here at Highgate as a long bomb back into play by O'Dwyer brings it up towards the wing. It's going to come back, however. Trudgeon tumbles it inside 50. Arriving there was Gadsby. Where did that hit? Now there's a push in the back, so it's coming back. It's going to be a free kick to Gadsby, who was shoved as he kicked the football. It's probably their ball anyway because his kick hit the shin of a Coburg player coming the other direction. Gadsby up to the wing. Ellison over the top. Couldn't take the mark. At the back there is Trudgeon. Fed it off to Rigoni. Left behind there by Trudgeon having another crack at it. Triffett tries to burrow his way through. Can't get there. Hands came out to the advantage of Brommel. He got wrapped up. Rigoni, nice handball. Major keeps it underground. Dintinasante could have got a free kick against Parks. Umpire said no, and he's going to ping him. Well, don't end up on top of the footy today, Dan, because it's holding the ball every single time.
Well, you've got to dip your hat to the consistency, though. That's 3 of those free kicks in the last 2 minutes being paid. So
as long as they're consistent. As Parks went short to Fitzgerald, the players know now that you cannot drag it in. Ellison on the long run. Got nudged out of the contest. Didn't matter because Ebinger took the mark at the front.
Yeah, that's why he's in the team. He's Ebinger. He's such a good mark. Took 9 of those last week as a medium forward.
Conway. A good start he's had. It's disposal number 7. Not 15 is the call. Paulson spearing ball to half forward. No mark taken there by Triffett. Deng got it back to Gadsby. His kick was well intercepted, and it's taken by Galvin.
That's probably the one knock on his game, Noah Gadsby. It's just his ability to hit targets by foot. He's certainly improved as a player over the last few years and cemented his place in this side, but just needs to be better there.
Fitzgerald made the spoil. Parks' kick was too hot for Deng, who now has to come in and lay the tackle on Corelliano. Can he manage to fire it out of there? Keogh did. Got it back to Rigoni, who goes in short and finds McKenzie. Set up the opening goal, did Tom McKenzie, as the siren sounds for quarter time. And that is a wonderful opening quarter of footy here on Good Friday at Highgate Recreation Reserve. And we are squared away. 3 goals, 2-20 the piece. The pair of them on 61 over Collingwood 3-3-21. As we get underway here in the second quarter, Keogh won the tap and then won the loose ball. Got a hand pass away just in time. Under pressure, Conway got it out to Fordham. Then on the 1-2 there with Collier Dawkins. Fordham steps around onto the right boot, drives it up inside 50. The flying run came from Petrick, couldn't take the mark under pressure. Sturgis back there for Coburg, landed on top of the football. No prior opportunity there, surely. And it's going to be a ball up about 25 metres out from their Seagulls goal.
Yeah, I might sound like the president of the Will Fordham fan club, but his ability just to work his way through traffic there and not panic and get the ball deep into the Williamstown forward line was excellent.
That kick from Tom Rowland floats wide and out of bounds on the full. He certainly looks a lot more settled today than he was last Friday night, which is only to be expected.
Well, he would have been extremely nervous playing against his old side.
Philpott drives up towards the top of the goal square. Pack flies. Ellison couldn't take the mark. McLaughlin picks up the loose ball. He's immediately set upon, and it's going to be tossed up at the top of the goal square. He's up to 10 now, Will Fordham, in the opening minute of the second quarter. Tap back from Ellison. RCD out of the pack. Hooks it around too far, and one behind only.
Yeah, they're the two they've got to watch at the stoppage. The two strong bodies, RCD and Will Fordham.
He did very well to get a kick away under all sorts of pressure there, Collier Dawkins. As the kick comes back into play, that was nicely done by Tui. It was knocked to ground. Bonner fed it back towards Greiser. He puts it over the top to Philpott, who's had a good start to this game. Hooks it back around the corner. Brilliant kick. And that found Coleman on the 50. Swings onto the right boot, off one step. Is it going to swing back? It's not. And it floats away to the far side and through for behind. 1-1 now for Blake Coleman, but looking dangerous.
Yeah, such a much improved player is Max Philpott. He's improved so much over the last few years, and his ability to hit that kick then, when there were 5 or 6 Coburg defenders in the vicinity, was excellent.
Bonner was held here, so he'll get the free kick. In fact, he gave away the free kick to Bella. The advantage quickly taken. This is Brommel, who has a couple of bounces down the wing. Slips the hand pass over the top, inboard, ducking under the tackle. The umpire rightly said that was play on Waitman. They've got all the way to the goal line. Gillard has a shot, and he was tackled as he got rid of the football, and it scrambles away and out of play for a throw in. But once again, enterprising ball movement from the Lions.
Yeah, they'll play that run and gun, draw the defender style game, will Coburg all day.
The fourth Good Friday game is underway. The first 2 goals to Frankston against Port Melbourne, 2-1-13 to no score. They've been playing 8 minutes at ETU Stadium. So we'll keep you across that one as well. As the ball came back in, Gillard tracks it. Under pressure there from Josh Brown. Quick kick came out of the pack towards the goal square, but Finbar O'Dwyer's back there and takes a safe mark. Just racks them up, doesn't he? Not the best of kicks, but Greiser's up to the task. He plays on through the middle of the ground. Lovely kick. Spoil had to be made by Cariliano. He did a good job of that. Knocked off the footy there was Kennedy. Now it was Ellison to Coleman to the pocket. Ooh. Oh no, McLaughlin's broke down. He's done a groin.
Yeah, he's already got his hand up, unfortunately.
He stuck the hand up to mark the football, and then halfway through, it's gone. He's just pulled out, and he's coming straight off frustrated. So Brodie McLaughlin, he is done. That is a big moment in this game, a groin injury, and he's coming straight to the bench, Dan.
Well, it is, because one of their strengths was their 2 talls in Petrick and McLaughlin. Now the young boy Petrick might have to rely on, say, perhaps Nick Ebinger putting his hand up as the other.
Well, Ellison, of course, they're dangerous as well. He'll have to lift as Fordham was dispossessed. Gentili swings a little hand pass through Sturgis. Back to the defensive goal square. Able to size up his options and drive it long there was Dammersmith. Puts it out towards half-back. Taken there by O'Dwyer. He'll give it off to Parks. Sends it back inside 50. Floated the kick a little bit, and that is a really good mark taken by Jovan Petrick.
Bit of confusion there amongst the 2 umpires.
Whether they were questioning the boundary line potentially.
I think the players end up self-governing that mark.
Yeah, clearly a mark from Jovan Petrick. And, well, it's not the right good side for the right footer. He goes with the banana and has it narrow. So 1 goal, 1 now to Petrick. And Williamstown, well, they're having their opportunities, but they're not putting it on the board. They lead by 3. Kick back into play is good to Kennedy. Brodie McLaughlin coming straight into the rooms below us. It is a significant blow as, well, Finn O'Dwyer does Finn O'Dwyer things. Inboard to Bonner, who moves it to Fitzgerald. These are the replacements for Hoare and McDonald. Paulson spears it too hot for Fordham, but he's able to go back and get it again. Brommel worried him out of it. Fordham still kept going. Got it inboard to Conway. Philpott out wide to Rich. Too far out to score. Petrick wanted it in the pocket. He's not going to get it. And now he does go in that direction. Petrick flies. Man in front, Beasley, did everything but drag it down. And it's going to be a ball up in the pocket. It was Ellison who was the original leader, and Petrick came second. Just couldn't quite get over Charlie Beasley, who's really bulked up and looking more like the older brother now in the now retired Box Hill captain in Hugh. As Fitzgerald knocks the ball to ground and then goes and gets it himself. He's caught there by Bella. Philpott to Bonner, who's really making his presence felt. Out the back to Paulson. Centering ball is over the head of Fordham. He needed to hit that target because the numbers are with Coburg. Brommel had to get rid of it quickly, did so. Stepping around traffic, McKenzie has his handball knocked down. Nicely done by Paulson. Can he shrug the tackle? He just got it away in time. Ebbinger dragged down by Cariliano, who then ends up on top of the football. And the umpire says, well, they didn't quite stick them well enough, Dan.
No, but good to see that Coburg's effort is where it was at in the first quarter. Once again, they're on their game.
Clear free kick that. That's what's called a pile driver, I reckon. And it'll go to Joel Trudgeon. He was ridden into the ground there like Damien Oliver on a Melbourne Cup winner by Triffett as he gave it off to Toohey. Poor kick by Donovan Toohey. Philpott to Fitzgerald to Minton Connell. Chips it over to... Is that a mark? Not paid. There were hands from both ways from Collier, Dawkins and Toohey.
I reckon Donovan Toohey may have taken that mark, even though he was behind his opponent. He would
have had to hold it to Collier Dawkins' chest to get it, though, wouldn't he?
He was protesting his case to the umpire.
Plenty of wrestling there in the ruck. Fordham, left, right, left. Now holds it up and Minton Connell provides the option off half back. There's a hold here. Beasley caught behind. And he could do nothing but give away the free kick.
He's another player.
He's getting the free kick, is he? No, he's not. The umpire pointed the wrong... Which way the umpire's pointed? He's pointed both ways. I don't think he knows. But Beasley has got the free kick playing behind.
He's another player, though, Harry Minton Connell, who seems to be benefiting from playing at a standalone club. He was playing at Essendon last year. He had some big games, but unfortunately he just wasn't able to get enough game time due to senior players coming back in.
Couldn't break in at Port Melbourne the year before, so the development certainly helps as Coburg bring it out of defence, but not for long because Triffett is going to intercept. Toner's handball is smothered. Fitzgerald looped it back to Gadsby. He does the blind turn back onto the right boot, spears it into the pocket. Ellison, well, he had glue on his hands last week. It's soap today.
Once again, Noah Gadsby, I'd just like to see him be able to be a little calmer in that situation. He just bombed the ball into that 50. If he could perhaps just show a little bit of poise, lower his eyes and hit up a lead-up kick.
So deep forward here for Williamstown. They've done all the attacking, but they've only got 3 points to show for it. Ellison through his hands. Waitman bumped off the ball by Philpott. Ellison dispossessed by Beasley. Pack converges. It's not coming out of there. And the umpire realises that.
You have your heart in your mouth when that happens, don't you? He's been red hot and Ronda, the umpire, so far with those free kicks in forward 50.
So Ellison and Keogh. Keogh won it. Straight through, looking for the free kick. And getting it, does he? Yes, he does. It's Triffett. And he will shoot for goal from 25 metres out straight in front. Bit of how do you do between Corey Rich and Cariliano. Well, I actually would have thought that that looked like a little bit of a duck there, Dan.
Yeah, look, I see that in the AFL games, in the first few games of the year, players leading with their head. And for me, as soon as a player does that, they're responsible for some of the contact that comes their way, but umpires have been giving it to the player with the ball.
He certainly threw his head back to make sure it was seen, and he makes it count. So the goal to Toby Triffett, that's his first for the season, and Williamstown stretch their lead out to 9 points.
Yeah, they're certainly getting the ball inside 50 of Williamstown now. 20 inside 50s to Coburg's 11. So even though that was probably a fortuitous goal, they'll feel that they're now getting some reward for effort. It's their first goal for the quarter.
Just repeating around the grounds, Brisbane Lions by 2 points over Collingwood earlier today. North Melbourne by 16 over Carlton. And at ETU Stadium, it's 16 gone in the first quarter. Frankston 2-3-15 leading Port Melbourne 1 behind. North Melbourne and Port Melbourne, the winners in the VFLW today. Big Easter round of Smithy's VFL and Rebel VFLW football right through until Easter Sunday. Another lovely bounce from the umpire. It's been spot on so far. Hand pass came out there from Conway. Stoddart sends a kick to half forward, attacking the football beautifully. There was Galvin. He ran straight through and sent it towards half forward. Coming in the other direction there was O'Dwyer to Greiser. Now back it goes to Parks, who brings it out to the wing. Fitzgerald puts it back to Stoddart on the left. Not the best of kicks, and a good hard run at the football from Galvin to take the mark.
That's a better kick by Reece Galvin.
Outstanding to Keogh. On the right boot. It's a little bit floaty away here from Dintinasante, and Stoddart walks it over the line.
They've just got to find the balance, Coburg, between this run and gun style of football and the ability to hit their targets. If they can do that like Reece Galvin did on that last occasion, they'll be right in this game.
They're certainly giving Williamstown all they can handle, that's for sure. I've got Williamstown as a top 4 team. They had to fight to beat Frankston last week. They've got a fight on their hands here as Triffett took the free kick and gave it to Stoddart. He will go short to Greiser. The leader of the back line. Lovely kick. Minton Connell across to Toner. This is ominous. Has a bounce. Great chase from Ernst, but Minton Connell, well, he missed the target with the kick as he heard the pressure coming. Tui went the 1-2 with Walker, flicked it out wide. Gillard just needs it to sit. It does. Brings it back inboard. Finds the target in Walker, who followed up nicely.
Yeah, young Tom Rowland, he'll learn from that. Just let his Williamstown opponent waltz through the tackle there. Just maybe with a bit more of a stronger body and some exposure at this level, he'll be able to wrap up those tackles.
Beasley brings it up to the wing. Fly will come from Bella. The spoil from Deng. Front and centre Fitzgerald. Sent it down towards the pocket. Sits up nicely for Beasley. Put it into the path of Walker. Lovely 1-2. Beasley back up towards the wing. Big shove from Bella. The umpire says that's a mark.
Probably a little fortuitous there, I think, Will Bella.
Possibly.
Look at that kick, though, from a big man. Well done.
Gentili in the middle. He goes to Tui. To half forward, Ernst. Nice mark, quick hand pass. Rigoni from 52 towards full forward, little bit overcooked. And the mark is taken back there by Parks.
Yeah, with Finbar O'Dwyer and Luke Parks just being able to read the ball off the boot, you've just got to be really careful bringing the ball into your 50 if you're Coburg.
Minton Connell had to be strong against Waitman under pressure. His kick not the best, and Rigoni will get another chance. Chips it in board. And Mackenzie ran hard from the middle of the ground to provide the option, and he's within range.
Well, we saw Tom Mackenzie tried as a forward last year with some success, Brendan.
Yeah, just the 8 goals in 37 games, Tom Mackenzie. But he is a player that can lift this Coburg team back up the ladder. From 48 metres out, he's given it a good ride, but he's pushed it way out to the right and just squeezed it in for a behind.
So Donovan Tui, 15 disposals, Flynn Gentili, 10, and Joel Trudgeon, 9 for Coburg. And for Williamstown, Will Fordham, 12, Fitzgerald, 11, and Riley Stoddart off half-back has also had 11.
Well, this will be 12 because he's received from Bonner. Puts it up to the middle of the ground. Ebbinger has it knocked away by Cariliano. Knocked down by Toner. Trying to spin through traffic there was Gentili. Blind turn, Walker couldn't get clear. Now it is Rigoni who got it across to Walker through the hands there of Thompson. They're still working hard and hanging on to the football. Not the best of kicks inboard from Rowland. Intercepted Ebinger. Here's the switch, the turnover.
They're on here,
got one out
Williamstown.
the back. Toner, Collier Dawkins, Rich is all on his own. He'll turn around. He'll have to go back and kick it. No, he won't. He'll give the hand pass. Oh, no! Brilliant work by Dammer Smith. Can he make the save? Oh, Collier Dawkins was strolling into the open goal, and Ingo Dammer Smith, you might as well write a goal down for that because he saved a beauty there.
Play the Benny Hill music, Brendan.
Play of the day from Ingo Dammer Smith. Take a bow, son. He's going to have to do it again, though, because the clearing kick is marked by Fitzgerald. He drives it inside 50, looking for Ellison. Thumped away by Galvin and out of play. But I tell you what, Jamie Cassidy-McNamara, that will be the first clip that is shown on Tuesday night at training.
Yeah, scrap for everything. That's what I'd be saying. Williamstown, 22 inside 50s, only 4 goals, so they'll be a little disappointed with that.
Hey, ball back into play. Williamstown still in attack. At the back was Bella, doing the roving Brommel. Got it down to the running player in Thompson. He sends it up towards half forward, bouncing ball. Chance now for Sarong, worried out of it nicely by O'Dwyer, the 217s. Fitzgerald puts it on the outside of the boot. Parks had to be up to the task, and he was. In fact, that is Brown, who wins the free kick. Back to Paulson, the switch on here for Williamstown. Bonner has got Philpott out on the far wing. He heads in that direction and finds him. Philpott wants to go. Drives it towards half forward for Coleman on the lead. Chips into the pocket. Lovely pass. And Ebinger has the mark. 42 metres out from goal on a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, he has excellent forward craft as Nick Ebinger. I watched him closely last week. He's a hard runner and he just knows when to time his lead. That was perfect ball movement there by Williamstown on that occasion. Aidan Bonner starting to impose his influence on the game as well across half back.
Yeah, he's using it pretty well, isn't he? Aidan Bonner, as you'd expect.
Just looking at Brodie McLaughlin walking gingerly along the boundary here.
Ebinger's kick from 45 metres out is A-OK, and Williamstown get their second for the quarter. Ebinger has his second of the season, his first of the day, and the Seagulls stretch their lead out to 14 points.
Look, I just get the feeling Williamstown are getting on top here. They've had most of the play. They've had a number of inside 50s and haven't really been able to convert, and that was the second goal for the quarter for them. So they're just starting to establish a 14-point lead here at Highgate Reserve.
Yeah, no ice there for Brodie McLaughlin, but so I'm not sure what that means, but he's certainly limping badly on that left groin.
So if you look at it, Tom Downey not playing today. We're not sure exactly the reason why. Brodie McLaughlin injured, so a couple of key players.
James Cousins injured last week. Mitch Cox was just unavailable, so he'll be back in the team next week, I believe. Oh, well, in 2 weeks' time.
Well, he's
of course, the state game next week.
This is the type of game that Mitch Cox could be valuable in, because not only can he play midfield, but he sure knows how to kick a goal.
Fordham will take the advantage of the Collier Dawkins free kick, gave it to Triffett. Spears to centre half forward, not the best. Mark intercepted by Walker. Brings it out to Dammer Smith, who has a virtual goal to his name. Chips it up to the wing. Nice pass. Finds Thompson. Gives the hand pass off quickly. Corelliano, the skipper, sends it inside forward 50, the 100 gamer. Bonner with strength. That is terrific.
Yeah, you don't want to try and outstrength Aidan Bonner. That is his one wood, as they say, Brendan. His ability to use his hips to outmark and compete against his opponents.
Even if you're a big man like Will Bella. There's Philpott now. It's out to the wing, and that is an excellent spoil by Max Kennedy, running back with the flight of the ball, facing in the other direction. Just made himself big, and the ball hit the back of his fist.
You certainly can't doubt the Coburg effort and willingness to compete here. They probably just need to clean up a couple of parts of their game.
It's just the extra class that Williamstown's got, isn't it? As we see Brommel, a Falcon for Gadsby. Handball there for Rigoni. Goes back to Corelliano, to Rigoni a second time. Across half back, he saw Sturgis. Needs it to sit, and it does. Plays on by hand, inboard. Wonderful balk by Walker and a terrible kick. Stoddart.
Yeah, Gillard was on then for about 10 or 15 seconds. The ball just got held up and a turnover here.
Back with the flight of the ball, Rich was shepherded back into it. He gave the hand pass off. Brown kicked the sealer last week. Misses on this occasion.
Handy inclusion, Josh Brown, isn't he, Brendan, coming from the West Coast Eagles waffle side?
Yeah, 32 games for them.
Not sure if that was a happy place to be last year.
No, they had a bit of a battle. They ended up pinching one draw throughout the course of the season, but they copped some almighty hidings.
Was that in an intra-club practice match?
No, they actually, I can't remember who they drew with, but they did get a draw. Perth, maybe. As the kick goes up towards the wing. As Paulson run down, Dintina Sante. They were also beaten by Swan Districts after the siren, so they did have their moments, the Eagles, but that's a wonderful tackle by Josh Dintina Sante. Pokes it forward to Brommel. He was the Lions' best up in Sydney last week, and he's tracking in the same direction today. Just needed opportunity that he couldn't get at Footscray. This one's a wobbler to half forward, and luck's a fortune. It lands in the lap of Henry Brown. Made his debut last week from Oakley Chargers to the Old Scotch Football Club in the VFL. And he's pretty confident that he's got the distance in him here. Man on the mark is at about 47. No, Brown was foxing. He kicks to the top of the square, and the fox pays off. Wonderful mark by Joel Trudgeon, and he will shoot from 25 out straight in front.
Well, you'd call that a set play, wouldn't you?
It was definitely a set play.
Sat it up about 20 metres out from goal. Full credit to you, Henry Brown. You say he's from Old Scotch. That's an Old Scotch type of name too, Henry Brown.
Well, Joel Trudgeon starred for Carlton in 2022. Didn't get much of a crack at it at Box Hill last year. So he's come to Coburg and he's kicked himself a goal today. And the Lions, well, they get reward for their effort and cut the margin back to single figures.
Yeah, I said at the start of the game that my concern for Coburg would be their inability to hit the scoreboard. And they hadn't scored a goal for some time, but well done there. They're fourth for the game. They now trail by 9 points.
Donovan Tui still leading the way, I think. As the stats sheet refreshes. 15 disposals for him, 14 for Fitzgerald, 13 for Stoddart and Fordham. Trudgeon up to 11 now, and Brommel with 11 with Rigoni, who's coming into the game too, the young man from Seymour.
He is. Now, would Ben Rigoni be related to the Melbourne player Guy Rigoni?
I think he is.
Because I think he was from that area, wasn't he too, Guy Rigoni?
I'd have to check to see whether he's a son. I know the Melbourne AFLW player Gemma is Guy's daughter.
Okay.
Be worried if it was the other way around. Gemma playing for Melbourne, played for Casey Demons last week as the Lions break away from the middle of the ground again. Brommel in towards full forward, back with the flight of the ball. O'Dwyer dropped the mark, hand pass up. Gillard has a shot at goal. Umpire doesn't move. Wonderful handball by Liam Sarong, and Gillard off one step brings the Lions back to 3.
Well, Hugo Bramell, he's had a couple of good minutes here, wins the clearance. They're able to bring the ball to ground. They don't want the key defenders in O'Dwyer and Parks to pick them off. And that's where they look dangerous, Coburg. If they can bring the ball to ground in their 50, they're a chance.
Well, 2 goals in the space of about 90 seconds. Brings the Lions right back into the game. It's quarter time at ETU Stadium. Frankston a bit wasteful, 2-6-18, leading Port Melbourne 1-1-7.
Well, if there's been a knock against Frankston over the last few years, it's their inaccuracy, isn't it, Brendan?
That's cost them a few games, actually, that they would have otherwise won. As the bounce favours Deng, but Keogh got the run up and won it down. Blind turn number 1 and then number 2 from Fordham before giving it to Triffett. Fed it out wide to Greiser. He hears the voice out wider and gave it to the skipper in Paulson. Long lead from Toner. In front of the switched off scoreboard here at Highgate Reserve. The kick goes poorly done, and that should be high. That one wasn't a duck. And it's a clear high tackle, I think, to Charlie Beasley at the base of that pack.
Yes, we do have the under 12 like scoreboard in the forward pocket there that we can see clearly.
The Cannons boys are doing that for us, which is great to see. So Beasley with the free kick, defensive side of the outer wing. Thumps it long towards half forward. It gets over the back. The 217's working hard. O'Dwyer was the winner this time. Fitzgerald hooked it back around the corner. Gadsby took the mark and decided to stop because he had traffic coming in the other direction. Noah Gadsby pops it up to half forward. Ellison floats over the top, and there is the hands that we saw last week. His kick finds Ebinger just outside the 50, probably still too far out to score. And he will hold things up. They do have one of those mobile scoreboards right there in front of Ebinger from the roadworks, but it's not working either.
Looks like Cleveland playing Washington. CL versus WS there.
Yeah, Coburg Lions, Williamstown Seagulls, of course. As Ebinger kicks from 55 metres out. He got plenty of purchase on it. Did that hit the point post or the boundary umpire? It obviously hit the boundary umpire because he didn't blow his whistle. Walker brings it out to half back. Coleman left it for Minton Connell. The hand pass a bit hot for Josh Brown, who then slips over. Has to get a hand pass away. Well, O'Dwyer did the corralling. He waited for Waitman to go and get the football, and he gets rewarded for it. The bloke who wanted the footy doesn't end up with it. And shakes of the head from the Coburg supporters. Although even the Williamstown supporters are not happy with that one. They reckon he's very lucky, Finn O'Dwyer, as Walker thumps it out of play for a throw-in.
Finbar O'Dwyer coming off the ground here. Looking a little proppy as well. Not sure if there's a concern there. He might have just been coming off for his designated rest, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that, because I reckon there was a little bit of a feel for the quad. So we'll watch that with interest. As Fordham fed the hand pass up, Conway gave it to Minton Connell. Lovely pass to Gadsby, who dropped the mark. And then Cariliano, I thought, was caught high. The umpire is a lot closer, and he didn't agree.
Yeah, certainly has been a welcome addition to this team as Harry Minton Connell coming off half-back as a small defender, running defender.
He was good last week too. Conway, the hand pass back. Josh Brown looked for the high tackle and won it. They're feeling the pressure, Williamstown.
They are. I even can feel the perceived pressure at times. They seem to be a little bit fumbly, Williamstown, which they're not often known for.
You know, it's...
But Coburg, on the other hand, Brendan, they've just got to make sure they don't give away free kicks like that. They've just got to be a little bit more considered in their defensive pursuits.
Well, the man on the mark is at 49 metres out from goal. So Josh Brown, we'll see how big a shoe he's got on him here. From 53 metres out, you don't think he's quite got the carry. Well, he just had the carry, but he hit the woodwork. And it is half-time here in a very, very entertaining game. So they are okay, Williamstown. O'Dwyer is back out on the ground as we see a quick break here for Coburg inside 50. Parks makes the spoil. There is O'Dwyer who, as we said, thought he might have just felt the quad in the second quarter, but he seems okay. Harry Minton Connell's just returned from the rooms without his boots on, but he does have them in hand, so expect that he will be back out there pretty soon. So boundary throw in, deep forward here for Coburg. Deng at the front. Quick snap out of the pack came from McKenzie, just goes across the face. O'Dwyer happy to run it through, and he almost got himself into trouble by being a bit cute with that. And it'll be a rush behind either way for the Lions. Margin back to 3 points. Stoddart short to Collier Dawkins. Phil Pott wants it around the boundary line, and it heads in that direction. It took forever to get there. And it was picked off and thumped over the line for the Lions by Trudgeon. And we'll get a throw in.
They certainly celebrate their defensive efforts, don't they, Coburg? They're up and about. Their bench gets excited.
Which they have to do. That's where you start. You start with hard work, with defence, shut them down, and then try and score on the burst. Snap around the corner for Williamstown is going to be intercepted. Tui. Disposal number 16. He goes short to Roland. Sets it up and sends it to half forward. Back with the flight. O'Dwyer is always marking that one. Goes into Parks. Switch on here. It gets to Bonner. In the back pocket. Aidan Bonner, dangerous. There was a fingertipper in there. He had to get it back by hand. Brings it back the way it came. They'll go in reverse. Parks brings it out wide to Philpott. This time it'll get to him in front of Roland. Sees the option in the middle of the ground, and he gets it and uses it. Collier Dawkins, Triffett. Collier Dawkins followed up and got it back again. Deng to Ellison. Wobbles a kick towards half forward, not the best for Petrick. Picked up by Paulson, gives it back to Ellison, steps around one, gets to the couple. Petrick, his hand pass was too close to the line, and the Coburg defence was just able to squeeze them out.
They were. It was looking dangerous for them then because Williamstown were extremely patient. They had about 20 uncontested disposals in a row.
Around the grounds, Frankston 3-9-27 lead, Port Melbourne 3-4-22. That's time on of the second quarter there. And it's one down by Deng. High contact here, free kick to the Lions. And that will be Trudgeon. He'll go short to Flynn Gentili. Over the top now to Beasley, who will bounce his way to the outer side of the ground. Lovely kick, found Tui, and he hits the ground running away from Fordham. The bounce doesn't come back to him. The footy went flat. Sent the kick inside 50. Ernst got rid of his man, put the mid out, couldn't get a hand on it though. And it bounced away and through for a behind.
They've shown they've got the ability, Coburg, to move the ball from one end to another extremely quickly. Just wasn't able to come off for them then.
So, rush behind there again. The margin is back to a couple as Philpott goes short to Rich, who ran hard to provide that option. Inboard he comes, Triffett. Copped a little congratulations on taking the mark from his opposite number there. And Philpott will receive from Roland, in front of Roland I should say. Back inboard Collier Dawkins. He wanted to move and then saw the option wasn't there. So he bangs it long looking for Petrick, who's got the sit here. And just getting a fingertip in there was Keogh, did it nicely and created another stoppage for the Lions.
Yeah, he'd be a little disappointed that he didn't hold that, Yvonne Petrick. But well done to the big boy Cooper Keogh and just being able to put enough body pressure on him. But once again, we just see Williamstown's patient build-up, number of disposals, a 64 disposal difference here, 226 to 162. So Williamstown getting their hands on the ball and using it often.
Trudgeon, Brommel, Tui, Walker, Gillard. This is promising. Brown out wider to Kennedy. He'll pop it over the top. Running hard is Gillard to get it back from 50. Just pops it around the corner.
Ooh.
And Trudgeon had to be courageous there, but he got the mark.
Well, that's one thing he has shown today, Joel Trudgeon, with that mark in the second quarter. He's a slight man, but he is willing to put his body on the line, especially in the air.
And doesn't kick a lot of goals. He got one in the second quarter, was just his 6th in game number 25. And on the mark is standing at about 44 metres out from goal. Trudgeon comes in, puts it on its way and pushes it across the face. One behind only the result.
Yeah, I keep saying right point post here, Brendan. That's where the breeze seems to be going, right to left.
And it is picking up just a little bit. Still nothing major, but it is there now. As the ball came up towards the wing, Ellison has his mark spoiled by Beasley, but it fell to Philpott. Lovely kick off balance. Found Rich. And he will wait and wait for something to present. That something was Paulson, who goes short to Josh Brown. Paulson might sweep past and get it back here. Brown decides to take the responsibility himself. Sends it long up towards half forward. The fly from Coleman. He had to go with the fist. Rigoni. His handball was smothered. Went back and got it again. Tui to Walker to Sturgis. Now out to the outer side. Running hard to provide the option is Henry Brown. Good crowd here on Good Friday, Dan.
Yeah, we saw a nice little crowd here for the Coates Talent League game played earlier this morning, and some of those have left, but they've been replaced by a nice holiday crowd.
Sturgis to Walker now, all the way back to fullback for Beasley. Gillard now will take the mark. Obviously, it would have been stronger over at Piranha Park as the intercept is made by Ellison, who goes short to Philpott. He can use Rich in the pocket, does so. Now comes the lead. Good kick, good desperation, hard lead. And the mark is taken. And that Toner, who has the footy hard up against the boundary line. Yeah, it's a shame that this would have been a huge money spinner for Coburg if it was back at Piranha Park. But the ground just not quite ready for round one after cricket season and some council works, I'm told.
Look, Merribeck Council made the decision. Whether it's right or wrong, you can argue, but
Toner
the
goes
consequence of that, Brendan, is that Coburg lose significant revenue.
You'd hope that the council, if they're scheduling works at such an important time, you'd hope that they would reimburse the Lions for that.
Well, they can't afford to have a home game pulled away from them.
Especially against a big drawing opponent like Williamstown on a big day like today. But here we are at Highgate, and Riley Stoddart is going to set it up from 52 metres out. And a really good mark taken by Trudgeon back in the hot spot at the kickoff line. He'll go by hand to Tui. Pops it over the top, where we see Gadsby pick up the loose ball. Outside of the boot was clever, and Coleman marks in the pocket.
Well, you've got to dip your lid off to Noah Gadsby there. I mentioned earlier in the call, it's his foot skills that I'd like to see improving. That was a little unconventional, but it doesn't really matter because Blake Coleman has the ball and is having a shot for goal.
So 1 goal, 1 he's got today. Kicked 52 goals in 50 games in the VFL for the Lions. Brisbane Lions, that is. Very quiet last week on Seagull's debut. His kick is quite narrow here and has missed everything, so a disappointing result for Blake Coleman. The margin remains at 1 point in favour of Williamstown. Coburg with 3 behinds on the board so far in this quarter. As Lockie Walker goes to the outer side, keeps it close to the boundary. Now there's a whistle on play here. There was a Lion who was impeded from attending the contest, and Liam Sarong will get the free kick, the third of the brothers.
Would he be the tallest? He would be the tallest of the brothers too, and the youngest.
Rigoni brought it across to Walker and now Beasley. Helicopter kick to the wing. There's 2 of them there, and the pressure was put on, but up to the task was Cariliano. Got it to down to, it was Sturgis who went to Ernst, who kicks in towards full forward. Floating from the side, Bonner couldn't take the mark, got a clip behind the ear, and it was rushed over for a behind that squares the scores once again here at Highgate Reserve.
He's shown some real athleticism as Caleb Ernst today in his first game. He's been able to get some separation from his opponent on occasions and take a couple of nice marks, so well done to him.
Looks like he's got no problem with the step up, that's for sure. Bendigo leg, of course, a very good leg as Ebinger flies before acceptances and gives the free kick away. Sturgis takes the advantage, thumps it inside 50, Bonner too strong. Outmarks in Tinasante and moves the ball quickly out to Gadsby. He wants to go and does so. Puts it down the wing into the path here of Toner, who has to turn around and go backwards to get a hand on it, and then got absolutely slung and will get the free kick. I don't think he could have been tackled in any other fashion there, but it was a free kick. As Toner puts it into full forward, pack to fly. Kick out of the pack over the shoulder from Petrick. Wrong side of the post.
So we've seen a low-scoring game here. 5 goals apiece. Now scores are just one behind Williamstown's way. But every time they look up to bring the ball inside the 50, they see both sides are seeing a swarm of opposition defenders. So you've got to be really careful with your ball use coming into 50.
Greiser gives it to Bonner, who just throws his opponent out of the way and then got run down. He got rid of Gillard easily, but Caleb Ernst, well, he's shown some nice ability here, Caleb Ernst. Won the free kick, gave the hand pass off. It wasn't the best kick from Roland, and that allowed Williamstown to create the stoppage.
Yeah, they've got a couple of laconic defenders, haven't they, Williamstown? We talked about Finbar O'Dwyer and Aidan Bonner. If they can just maintain this pressure, Coburg.
They're in this up to their eyeballs at the moment. Free kick here going for a hold in the ruck. It's going to be a Williamstown ball, which, once again, I thought it was Deng who had the arms around. Gave the handball off to Fitzgerald. He almost got run down by Ernst again. Beasley puts the fist in. Can he keep it in play? He did there, Corelliano. Felled it back to Gillard. Ernst now, can he get it over the top? It's a big target to beat there in Deng. Fitzgerald around the corner. Trudgeon comes charging off half-back. Spearing ball to the wing. Bonner puts a fist in. Who's going to get back there first? It's Parks. He gave it off to O'Dwyer. Puts it out to Fitzgerald, and they would be wise just to take a bit of sting out of this for a minute, Williamstown.
I think they will. I think you'll see them chip the ball around. That's their game style.
Brown plays on, drives it up to half forward. Beasley with a big fist. Brought it to ground. Parks knocks it down. Fordham. He's gone out of the game in the last half an hour or so, but he uses his explosiveness there. Brown back inboard, looking for Fordham again. Can he get through? Gillard's got him. Manages to squirt the ball out. Hand pass from Thompson. Corelliano received from Ernst. Fordham's a bit sore behind the play. Keep an eye on that as we see Thompson dumped over the line for a throw in. They are feeling this, Williamstown.
He's holding his wrist a little, so let's hope he's okay.
Brown, Ellison, Conway, all sucking in the big ones after that contest.
So Joel Fitzgerald now their leading disposal winner, Brendan, with 18. Certainly been unobtrusive today. Knows how to find the footy.
He's a good footballer. One down here by Petrick, who's having a go in the ruck. Roland around the corner for Coburg. Tumbles it to half forward. O'Dwyer's all on his own here. Corralled by Dintina Sante, but he stepped around him. Gave it to Fitzgerald, another one for him. Drew the man and gave it to Conway. Back to the man running through is Triffett. Across to Fordham, who's recovered. Gave it to Brown. He should use Petrick here, does. It's a terrible kick. He tried to kick when he should have handballed. Then he goes in and unloads Galvin with the hip and shoulder. Kick to half to the wing and a great mark by Ernst coming in front of Fitzgerald.
He just knows how to compete, this kid. First game, he's up against the likes of some fairly decent footballers, some who have played at AFL level.
Thumps it long to half forward. Bounces off the chest of O'Dwyer, but he gets it back. Gave it to Triffett. Puts it through hands under the pump here. The Seagulls, and they've lost it again. Collier Dawkins. The kick goes back in towards half forward. A couple to beat here for Henry Brown. Did he give away a free? Umpire said no, doesn't matter. Minton Connell flicks it out wide and finds Gadsby.
Yeah, who's going to put their hand up for Coburg? Who's going to break that drought of kicking more than an average of 8 goals a game? Where are they going to find their goal kickers? That's my question. They've certainly been brave so far. Can they manufacture a couple of goals here?
Hayden Bonner pops it back to Gadsby, and they're playing kick to kick. On the halfback flank, Gadsby thumps it long down towards the wing. And I think you'll find here Rigoni's given away a free kick for a push in the back. Advantage is
Well,
quickly
they're on
taken,
here.
and they are on. Rich pops it over the top. Ebbinger's out the back, takes the mark, and will be able to shoot for goal from 25.
Yeah, we saw this last week with Nick Ebbinger. He just works his way into the game. His running capacity, his ability in the air to have an influence. He took the 9 marks last week against Frankston.
So, and we know he's a good kick, Nick Ebbinger. 70 goals in game number 46 at this level. Had a season off a couple of years ago back at Willie Sims. He likes this one. He pumps the fist to the crowd, and Williamstown get that little bit of important breathing space with the first goal of the third quarter.
Well, the ball's been zinging up and down the ground. Been a heap of mistakes, and that's the first goal for the quarter, Brendan.
Yep. Took a total of 16 and a half minutes to come. And he's the first multiple goal scorer in the game. Here's Nick Ebbinger.
I just get the feeling it's the side that will use the ball well that will start to get on top. And they were able to transition that ball from deep in defence, Williamstown. Probably a silly free kick given away by Reece Goldman. He's a strong man, so he probably doesn't need to use his arms or his hands in the marking contest against his opponent.
Half-time over at ETU Stadium. Frankston 5-10-40 leading Port Melbourne 3-4-22. So there's a game on there as well, Dan. As we see the Rucks prepare to go at it again. Bella with the tap. Trying to bust through was Gentili. Triffett was the one who did. He gave it to Collier Dawkins. Flicked it out wide to Stoddart. Hard lead from half forward to Rich. Which way shall I go? He'll drive it up the line. 2-on-1 contest here. Ellison could never get into it. Brommel received from Gillard, then gave it to Gentili. Hooked it around the corner, bouncing ball to half forward. The bounce, well, it favoured Coburg, but Parks made himself big and knocked it down. Ernst is still competing.
Yeah.
Knocked it to ground. It was taken away from Mackenzie. Now Williamstown have all the numbers here. Doesn't want to sit for Greiser, but he's good enough to make it count. Fitzgerald gave it to the man running past in Paulson, who has to go back and get it again because Stoddart couldn't gather. Collier Dawkins across to Toner. Look out here. Here comes Gadsby. You'd nearly back him. Got a little bit of a nudge.
Whoa!
Coleman! You could see it coming from half the ground away, and Blake Coleman should kick the goal from the top of the square.
You could see him lingering there, couldn't you, Blake Coleman? Just waiting.
He set himself before Gadsby even gathered the football, I reckon. And he had his name written all over it. And Blake Coleman to give Williamstown a 13-point lead heading into time on of the third quarter. He has not made any issue with that whatsoever. Second goal for Coleman, couple in a row for Williamstown, and they've got a little bit of room to move again.
So has Coburg's pressure dropped, or has Williamstown ball use just got better in the last 5 minutes? They were able to run and carry that through the defenders.
I don't think it dropped, maybe just a fraction. But that's all it needs, isn't it, against a good opponent? Yeah, that was not clean by any stretch of the imagination for the Seagulls. Coburg are keeping the pressure on. They just had the extra number, which was vitally important right there.
So 285 disposals to 213. That's a huge gap, 72. But it just goes to show how Williamstown used the ball.
So having a go in the ruck now is Petrick up against Keogh. This bounce will favour Keogh. The umpire is happy to let it go. Conway has it sharked by Gentili. Flicks it over the top to Mackenzie. Left, right, left. Gets around his opponent and drives it in towards full forward, but kicks it straight to Fitzgerald. They just read the ball well, don't they, in defence, Williamstown?
So you got Fitzgerald, you got Bonner, you got O'Dwyer. Just seems like the last half hour or so, whenever Coburg are entering their 50, they're getting picked off.
They don't have that big target down there, do they? Stoddart clearing ball. Ellison with the spoil. Corelliano Hooks it back on the left. Nice trap by Waitman. Got it to Thompson. He goes back to Waitman. Here's a chance. They've mucked it up again. Stoddart. Clearing ball into the middle of the ground. Tone.
We're on again here, Williamstown.
Ellison out wide. Coleman's got space. The kick goes into his path. He'll mark that. Just inside the boundary line. He's got the options inboard and he splits the difference, and it's beautifully picked off there by Max Kennedy. Goes short to Gentili, who has had patches in this game, but others where he probably would have liked to have done more. Brommel out to the wing. Bella, can he get around Bonner? He can. Away goes Will. Sends it down towards half forward. And thumped away, in fact, by Liam Sarong, who decided that he couldn't take the marks, that the best course of action is to make a stoppage.
Yeah, it'd be tough for the young fellow Liam Sarong, still finding his way at this level. Is Liam?
Didn't get a debut at Box Hill last year, Liam Sarong.
Only had the 2 disposals, and he's competing against some experienced bodies.
So here is Triffett. Can he get through? He was trying to
Well
get it
done.
to Tone and he couldn't. That's a great tackle, is it? It's not a great tackle.
Not so well done.
It's an unfair tackle, according to the umpire, and goes against Thompson. So Triffett will take it at the top of the goal square.
I just almost feel that that's the way they're going to manufacture their goals, Coburg, by keeping it in their 50 on the ground and then perhaps with their defensive efforts getting the ball back.
Well, in Waitman and Dintina Sante, they do have a couple of very useful small forwards. Sturgis can drive it back in here. And he will do exactly that. Do they have a big man to fly? Sarong has it thumped away from him by Parks, and it's out of play.
In some ways, you think that maybe they should deliberately kick the ball to ground. It might be to their favour.
Chaos ball.
A bit of a chaos ball situation.
They need Waitman and Dintina Sante down there to make it happen. Here is Waitman at the front if they can get it to him. Taken out of the ruck by Keogh. Gentili knocked down by Brown. Waitman at his bootlaces, couldn't get a kick away. He's going in and having another crack at this. Brommel, was he caught high as he went to pick up the footy? The umpire said no. Spills out. Bella. Gentili! Might have got it! Gentili with a Smithy snag out of the pack. And the Lions get one back. They're still there, Dan.
Well, they kept the ball alive. Looked like the umpire was putting his whistle to his mouth. But no, they were able to keep the ball alive, Coburg, and that's what I like about them. The small, nippy forwards, give them the opportunities inside 50 to scramble and manufacture something.
Just keep scrambling and give yourself a chance.
So that's the difference between the two sides. Williamstown have some real method with the ball coming into their 50, and you just feel Coburg a little bit different the way they play, a bit more kamikaze.
And that's their game. That's what they've got to be. Just throw caution to the wind and give them absolutely everything they can.
You almost feel an Aaron Clark type player would be handy in this situation.
He'd be massive.
He was
with the stronger midfield now to be able to hit him. He didn't get the delivery he wanted last year. He's playing for Perth Demons this year, and we hope he goes well. But geez, he would have been nice today.
He was a shining light last year in a side that didn't win a game.
Kicked 30-odd goals, I think. There's a high tackle here for Thompson. Advantage taken by Trudgeon. High ball. There's a whistle.
What's going on here?
Downfield free kick. Trudgeon was unloaded. And it's going to be a shot at goal for Coburg. And it's going to be Will Bella, who is that big target down there. He's just been out-red, hasn't he, Bella, a fair bit?
Probably hasn't had the delivery he wanted.
No, that's it. They're going for that chaos ball, which doesn't suit the big guy, but the tall Williamstown defenders are finding themselves in the better positions. Here's his chance to really make a difference and lift his own confidence. Will Bella from 35 metres out straight in front. Does it hold its line? No. A disappointing result in the end there for the man who kicked a couple last week. The margin is one straight kick. And the ball is with Jake Greiser coming out of defence. Here's Ellison and Petrick. Keogh flew. It was knocked away from him. Wonderful pick-up by Ebbinger. Philpott can't keep it in play. And we'll have a boundary throw in as we tick towards three-quarter time. 26 and a half minutes gone. If they can square it up again by the final break, then it's anybody's ball game. Well, it is anyway. Thompson, Philpott, loses his legs, and the umpire says my ball.
Last week when Williamstown played Frankston, full credit to Williamstown, they were so composed in that last 30 minutes. Frankston were coming at them. There was a vociferous crowd on the hill. They kept their heads. Can they do it again today?
Thompson inside 50. Ernst almost took the mark. Bonner was wrapped up as soon as it landed in his lap. And the umpire is taking his time here, but eventually says my ball. 6 points the margin. Brisbane Lions by 2 over Collingwood. North Melbourne by 16 over Carlton. Frankston lead Port by 16 at half-time. Ball just bombed out of there by Triffett. Ellison was blocked. Umpire said that was okay. Fordham picks up the loose ball, decides to take off, got met front on, and the umpire, who was probably unsighted from where he made that decision, decided it was high.
It looked like it was Reece Galvin who got him, and Reece Galvin looks a little bit like Popeye.
He's a solid fella, isn't he?
Had his spinach for breakfast this morning.
Downfield free kick it is. And the siren beats Corey Rich before he can get the kick away. And we are set up for a big last quarter here on Good Friday at Highgate Recreation Reserve with William.
So what I do know is I do know that Coburg are going to have to score, and I just think they're going to have to need to kick 3 or 4 goals to be a chance here.
Keogh with the tap, but it was taken away by Conway to get the final term underway. Floating in, Ebbinger drops a chest mark. Walker manages to scrounge it out of there. Working hard here is Kennedy. He couldn't break clear. And it's going to be a ball up just forward of the centre wing here in favour of the Seagulls. Deng on debut, been solid. Fordham to Stoddart. Heard that plenty of times over the past few years down at Frankston. Here's Coleman sweeping out the back, goes with the dribble. Perfect result. Great start to the last quarter for Blake Coleman and Williamstown. He's got his third, and that is just what the doctor ordered for the Seagulls.
Yeah, and on the back of 2 winning clearances for Williamstown, Riley Collier-Dawkins there. Almost a mirror of last week, only 6 days ago against Frankston when they were being challenged. Their big bodies stood up, their leaders, their experienced players, and it just gives them some breathing space here. They're out to a 2-goal lead.
It was expertly done, wasn't it, by Coleman? He sized up the options. He knew if he went aerial that it probably would have got touched. He very deliberately guided it through along the ground. And that is the perfect use of the dribble kick. And Chief will even tell you that.
Well, he's got some tricks. That's what we know about Blake Coleman.
Tap down here by Deng. Collier-Dawkins spins
again
through one. Got it up to Conway. Flicks it out to Brown. Can he get around trouble? They like the spins. Fordham sends it towards full forward. Good mark. Good intercept mark taken there by the skipper. The 100-gamer Corelliano. Can he lift his team home? He went short to Walker, who gave it to McKenzie. Changes his mind and comes back inboard. Nice hand pass to Keogh, who wants to go. Does so. Drives it towards half forward. Bouncing ball. Doesn't favour the Seagulls in Stoddart. Henry Brown put it into the path of his teammate, but they've missed it. Fordham was up to the task. Clearing ball out to half-back, and Collier-Dawkins marks. Now they've got the loose man going. Toner. Can he find one inboard? He does with Ellison, who's played more up the ground today. Remembering that McLaughlin is out of action. He did a groin just before half-time. Ball towards the pocket. Here's Coleman.
Smart play.
Very good, wasn't it? Gadsby. Chips into the pocket. Very nicely done by Williamstown, and Jack Toner had the football right down at the start of the play at this end of the ground.
Well, it's only early in the last quarter, but you just feel like the game's opening up a little bit here, Brendan.
And that's probably what Coburg don't really want. Jack Toner hooks it around the corner on the left boot, pushes it too far across the face and hits the point post. So yeah, they just need to keep it as a scrap, I think. Coburg just keep working it forward, working it forward.
I think they've just got to make the most of their opportunities. In that instance, Cooper Keogh, you probably don't want it in the big hands of the ruckman when he's coming into forward 50.
Sturgis thumps it long. Parks couldn't quite hang on. Philpott got it down to Minton Connell hugging the boundary line. And the boundary line hugged him back. Out of bounds on the full. Sturgis goes with the switch. Now they can go if the options are there. This is Galvin, who brings it back into centre half back. Nicely done, Gentili. Kicked a wonderful goal in the third quarter. Spearing ball to the hard run of Brommel. He gave it to Trudgeon running past.
Nice
Thumps
kick.
it inside 50. Good football. And the mark is with Bella.
Well, that'll be on the highlights reel for Coburg during the week. The video editor will be showing that. The ability to use the ball through the middle of the ground, make good decisions, clean by foot, and then hitting up Will Bella for a shot on goal.
And we were saying scrap, but they can do this, and they've done this 3 or 4 times, that they can just break and go straight up the middle. Bella needs to finish, though, from 51 metres out. He's hung it out to the left.
It wasn't a Bella kick.
2 behinds in the second half for Will Bella. Margin back to 11. Round the grounds, first goal of the third quarter to Frankston. They lead by 23 points now over Port Melbourne, 6-10-46 to 3-5-23. As O'Dwyer marked the kick in from Minton Connell, brought it up towards the wing. Corelliano with courage brought it down, but only as far as Ebbinger. Now Toner is off out the back. He can have a couple of bounces. He doesn't want to use Petrick, who had time. Ellison ran hard to provide the option. Now he has to turn back inboard. That's not 15. Brown gave it back. Toner still going. Hooks it on the right. Well, that was almost as exciting, but it got the same result.
Yeah, that's a play they practice, Williamstown. They'd like to squeeze all their players up the ground, have them all in, say, 1/4 or 1/6 of the ground, and then try and get you out the back.
Slingshot footy do we have here now? This is Kennedy. Trudgeon back to Kennedy. Sends it out towards half forward. Bounce doesn't favour Bonner. At the back is Bella. Just says, get out of my way, Max, and he flattened him. Kennedy runs past, kicks to half forward. Dintina Sante is spoiled. Clearing kick to the outer side. That was nicely done there by Minton Connell, and he got it to Gadsby. Now to Collier Dawkins. Here's the slingshot heading back the other way. Thumps it long and high. Ellison will mark on the chest. And he is probably close enough to have a ping at this.
Looks like he was on a treadmill then, Charlie Beasley. Hasn't played much football. We know he had that hamstring injury last year in round 1 versus Collingwood. Missed a lot of footy. He's got his hands on his knees, just starting to feel the effects.
Just 6 games last year for Charlie Beasley after that injury.
He's been good for them so far today as Charlie Beasley, but can he continue to give them great leadership in this last 20 minutes?
Corey Ellison, as I said, he's played up the ground today, kicked 3 last week. This kick is on the way, and that is a beauty! That is a dagger! In the heart of the Lions, a brilliant kick by Corey Ellison for his first, and the margin is back out now to 3 goals. What a wonderful kick, Dan, from long range.
Yeah.
Set shot close to the boundary. After a really good passage of play both ways.
Yeah, they were a little bit stiff perhaps, Coburg. Nearly had an opportunity, but the ball got rebounded out, and full credit to Williamstown. Their ball use has really picked up. And maybe at the same time, Coburg's defensive pursuits are just dropping off a tiny bit.
Upset is well and truly on over at ETU Stadium. Another goal for Frankston. They lead by 29 points now, 11 minutes into the third quarter.
Well, you call it an upset, Brendan. I call it my tip of the round. I liked some of Frankston's game last week. They just weren't able to put it on the scoreboard.
Well, I was looking at Port Melbourne's recruits, although they missed a couple today. Fordham got it to Minton Connell. Triffett out to Gadsby. Here's the elastic stretching. Here's Josh Brown. Oh, that almost missed his boot. And it was lucky that Corey Rich was able to get there, but it also allowed Dammersmith to get there, and he has done some really nice things defensively today.
He has. He was a child actor, was Ingo Dammersmith. Used to be on Neighbours, starred as Oscar Scully when he was a young boy.
Well, yeah,
so they've got a bit of a history of that, haven't they, Coburg, with a little bit of they had, I think was it James Keogh who was ended up being Vance Joy?
Yes, yeah, it's the one. Kick towards half forward here from Brommel. Knocked down by Waitman. Gillard, he won the footy. He got it up to Bella. Kicks towards full forward. It's all Williamstown. Just overcooked the kick once again. And O'Dwyer, well, he just eats those for breakfast.
Yeah, it's the last piece of the puzzle, isn't it, for Coburg?
A little bit of tomato sauce and chicken salt that was delivered with. So this is Stoddart, who went to Fitzgerald. He'll give it back to O'Dwyer, who disguised a fumble as a bounce there. Nicely done by Kennedy. Creates the turnover. Hand pass over the top from Walker. Stepping around one is Henry Brown. Puts the kick on its way towards the pocket, and the mark is taken by Sarong. Well, the crucial turnover. And Liam Sarong has a chance to boot the goal. He kicked 2 out of Coburg's 5 on debut last week. 2 goals, 2 in fact, against the Swans.
Oh, that was a good result for Coburg, because looking up, they were outnumbered in their own forward 50, and they were able to take the mark. So well done.
To cut the margin back to 2 goals, gun barrel straight. They're still in it, the Lions. Liam Sarong with his first, and the margin is 12.
You just get the feeling if this game was at Piranha Park and they had the crowd behind them, they have got a great little local crowd there at Coburg who get behind their team, love their footy.
Yes, sensational stuff that. And yeah, the Lions' pride there. Well, they're sort of separated a little bit here today, aren't they? A lot of locals from Coburg haven't been able to make the trip out, but it's still a pretty useful crowd that have made the journey out to Craigieburn today. As we see the ball back in the centre.
Caleb Ernst in the ruck. He's been competitive.
Well, let's see if he can do it here against Akol Deng. Deng too strong, won the tap down, hand pass out from Triffett. Trying to work his way through there was Walker, who's gone onto the footy. In fact, that is Thompson. The crowd wants push in the back. Umpire says, my ball.
He's had a workmanlike game, hasn't he, Akol Deng? Certainly a big body.
He's not out of place, is he? After waiting so long for his opportunity at Werribee. Come up the highway and he just bowls Ernst over on that occasion. Breaking out of here was Stoddart. Fires the kick towards the wing. Coleman put on the afterburners to get there, but then it just hatched out the back at the last second. Fordham does the 360 to find the option and does it expertly to Conway. Little chip over the top. Is it going to get there in time? It does. It might be Petrick in the pocket, who copped a very solid knock from Sturgis. In fact, it's Ebbinger who has taken the mark. And we know exactly what he's capable of.
Yeah, that was an A-grade kick by Will Fordham.
He does it. You see it a lot, that he does the whole 360. You think he's turning quickly, but his eyes are moving that well that he's seeing everything. As Ebbinger hooks it back on goal. Did it get there?
He likes it.
I think it did. The fist on the line was behind the line from Walker, and Ebbinger has kicked his 3rd goal, and that one just might make it tough for the Lions.
He's a little unconventional, isn't he, Will Fordham? And that's what led that play to being marked by Ebbinger in the 50. Will Fordham, he grew up as a forward. And then when he was drafted to North Melbourne, played principally as a wingman. And it was only until later in his career that he understood that he had some capabilities playing as an inside midfielder.
He's got the wheels and he's got the brains and he's got the skills. He is a star, Will Fordham. He's now one of the most experienced players in the VFL, playing game number 130 today after the retirements of Gribble and Sotomarco at the end of last year. And Ben Jolly, of course. I think he would nearly be second only to Tom Wilson these days. As we see a secondary ball up in the middle, of course, there is Nick Hayes at Werribee, who is nearing 200 State League games, 113 of those in the Sandful. And he's only about 28, so there's plenty more in him. But Fordham is a genuine star. As we see the Seagulls try to break out of here. The Lions trying to hold them up, and it's not going to work because there's a free kick for holding the ball being picked out for Triffett. And he is given the hurry up now. Toby Triffett thumps it towards centre half forward. Man in front's got to be paid this one, I think. And it certainly is, and it's Dammersmith again.
Yeah, what I like about Ingo Dammersmith is not just the fact that he was on Neighbours when he was a boy, but he shows confidence that you don't often see. He came into the team last year as Gadsby takes a mark inside the 50.
Ernst crashed the pack. O'Dwyer stayed down and was able to size up the options, and Noah Gadsby will kick from about 45 metres out. But yeah, he hasn't had a lot of the football, Ingo Dammersmith, but he's still one of the better players because of what he's done without it. So Noah Gadsby hasn't kicked a goal today. Only turned 22 a couple of weeks ago. Sends it on its way. It's narrow. And it's through for a behind, but it does take the margin out beyond 3 straight kicks.
It's what you call a handy point.
And this is the time of day where you can say handy point. I've heard some people call it handy point halfway through the first quarter, and you wonder why. But 19 the difference now as the Lions now need to get their skates on. Wonderful mark by Bella, gave the hand pass up. Coming past there was the Lions player in Sarong, but they've turned it over. Kick goes back towards the forward pocket. Sturgis worked Ellison under the football, but he also worked himself under it, and it's out of play.
So how long have we been going, Brendan, in this last quarter?
Ticking 15 and a half minutes.
Yeah, you just feel that Coburg might have to take a few more risks here. They have been trying to use the middle of the ground. Sometimes it's worked.
They've got to be prepared to lose by 5 now to have a chance of winning it.
I think so. It's a little bit like the golfer that's 2 behind with 2 holes to play.
Ball knocked down by Deng's boots. Triffett stolen away here by the Lions. Walker goes underground after receiving from Rigoni. Now they can do something here. Gentili kicks towards Ernst. He did well. O'Dwyer managed to win the football, and Ernst made sure he was going nowhere. Liked him, Caleb Ernst. Again, not a lot of disposals, but the way he's attacked the football.
Yeah, he's just been ultra competitive. That's what I like about him.
And that would be the number one thing that Jamie Cassidy-McNamara would have been asking for. Breaking away here is Tui. He's well into the 20s for disposals. Walker kicks into the pocket. Bonner beaten for it. Bella gives the hand pass off. Over the top it goes. Waitman, you'd back him. You would back him. Waitman kicks the goal. And Waitman's always kicked those goals. And the Lions are still there. They just won't go away. Second goal for Kyle Waitman. Margin back to 13 once again.
Yeah, the son of Flea.
Yep.
From the Strathmore region in the Essendon District Football League.
Flea used to do that a lot.
He did.
Cody does it a lot. Connor did it a lot. I don't know what happened to Connor this year. He's not at Williamstown anymore.
Well, one thing I noticed about Kyle Waitman is quite often in games he would start the game early and then just drift out, whether that was just due to his body or his lack of game time at this level, but as he's got older, he's stayed in games for longer.
Finn O'Dwyer leading the way with 23 disposals for Williamstown as we get underway again. If they can get another one quickly here, Coburg, anything could happen. Toner with the clearance, tumbles it out towards the pocket, picked up by Dammersmith, missed Walker with the handball, steps under traffic, but they've lost the footy now. This is Petrick who goes towards full forward. Gadsby out of midair, across the face.
Yeah, we gave Ingo Dammersmith a rap before, but just on that occasion I felt he just needed to be a little bit cleaner. Missed the handball inside to a dangerous spot.
So here comes Rigoni out of fullback, finds Dintinisante. He's had to come a long way up the ground. Now Gillard. They've got to be spot on now, Coburg. Greiser makes the spoil. Ernst had no one to give it to. Fordham sharked it, fed it off to Toner. Spearing ball straight through the hands of Rigoni. Taken by Ellison, gave it to Triffett, hooks it around the corner. That might do it. Great football from Williamstown. They made them pay for the error. And Triffett has booted his second goal of the game to send it back to 19 once again.
Yeah, that bullet of a kick just went through Ben Rigoni's hand. They're getting around to him, the Coburg teammates of his. Once it got through his hands, Toby Triffett was able to pounce. And it's a 20-point lead now. You'd probably feel that's game over in terms of the result.
Yeah,
They've been game, Coburg, but I just don't think they'll get the points today.
Yep, they're certainly showing that they're heading in the right direction. Winless last season, of course. Competitive
Brendan,
quite a few times.
Last year they had a number of similar games to this where they were in games for a long time and then they just had 5-10 minute lapses and they were scored against easily. So with Coburg, you don't often get too many blowout margins. They'll be competitive for periods of time. It's just for how long.
So we're underway again as the Seagulls try to work it forward. No mark taken there. Hand pass came out to O'Dwyer, who tumbled a kick towards the wing. Running onto it here is Collier Dawkins. He will flick it around the corner. Fitzgerald, if I can untangle the tongue. Collier Dawkins to Gadsby. Runs towards half forward. Thumps it inside 50. The big men to fly. Ellison brought it to ground. Strong tackle put on Beasley. He's not getting out of there. It's going to be a ball up. So the biggest story too that comes out of this is Williamstown with McLaughlin. They lost Cousins last week. They've lost McLaughlin today. He's going to miss a few games, you would think. That'll rule him out of the state game as well, for sure.
Well, you'd hope they'll get Tom Downey back next week and potentially Mitch Cox. We're hearing the issue with Mitch Cox was a concussion from last week's Frankston game.
Well, he was listed as unavailable rather than injured, so that is quite possible, though. They said he was away, but how true? We don't know, as Toner's kick is wonderfully smothered there by Dammersmith. And Collier Dawkins ensures that it's wrapped up. No, it manages to spill out. Toner, Triffett, kicked the last goal. He's not getting clear this time. Well, the umpire doesn't want to blow the whistle anymore. Dintinisante kicks into the middle of the ground. Nice done to Bella. He steps around one. Needs to find a target. Does by hand to Rigoni. Gives it to the man in Brown. Brown from 45 metres out. Sprays it. Got dumped after.
Looks like there might be a free here,
yes,
Brendan.
Yes, he was dumped. I'd move the glasses further forward, but he's picking himself up off the ground. And it is Kyle Waitman who will take a shot from the pocket about 15 metres out.
Kyle Waitman bolted like your greyhound to that. Then Brendan, he knew there was a free upfield, and why wouldn't you want it in his hands?
Yep, he would be exactly the man for the job, and he knew it. So, Flea Jr. Kyle Waitman for goal number 3. He likes it. Oh, he likes it a lot. Waitman's got his third. And the Lions, well, they are kicking on. They're still fighting. 14 points the difference.
Yeah, look, full credit to Will Balla. He's playing on an experienced AFL player in Aidan Bonner. And he's on occasions in this half, he's outwitted him a little. Bonner is waiting for that sort of high intercept kick, and Ballard's been able to push off him and been able to succeed by hitting up at the football.
So, is there time? They would really need to get their skates on. They need to kick another 3 goals yet. The Lions, we've ticked to the 23-minute mark, so...
Okay, so there still might be time.
There is time. They need everything to go right. Petrick in the ruck now against Keogh, and he won it. Keogh will take it, gives the hand pass to Gentili, steps around one and pops it short. Here's Tui, spears to half forward, Ernst. Is there a sniff? Caleb Ernst will kick from 40 metres out to cut the margin back to single digits. He's already booted one. It's a great kick in the opening quarter.
He's almost been their best forward. I know I gave a rap to Will Bella before, but he's been presenting all day.
Tall forward.
Competing all day, hasn't he?
Caleb Ernst from 40 metres out. He's hung it out to the right. One behind only the result. He's kicked 1 goal, 2. The margin is back to 13 points. Is it? Or is it 8? Is it 8 points? No, that's the scoreboard attendant not being able to count. So Greiser takes the responsibility on himself. And he gives it about 70 metres out to the wing. Over the top, Ellison couldn't quite drag it down then. He's wrapped up. And he's going to get
he's going to give
it. Well, free kick to the Lions. They can go forward again.
He was just trying to kill the ball there, was Corey Ellison, but the umpire deemed he had prior opportunity.
Galvin will swing around onto the left boot, and he thumps it in towards full forward. At the back, Trudgeon with a chance. Getting back there first was it Phil Pott? Clearing kick to the outer side. Damasmith flew, couldn't quite. Ball cleared away there by Josh Brown. Got it to Corey Rich. And he will hold on to it on centre wing and take a bit of time off the clock.
Yeah, he's in no rush, Corey Rich. They train this Williamstown. They prepare for it.
So Rich, helicopter ball to half forward. Unable to take the mark there was Ellison. Coburg with the turnover. Gentili to Galvin. Needs to find a target and does through Ernst. Gives the hand pass off to Walker running by. Gives it further afield now to McKenzie. Now with Kennedy. He goes towards half forward. It was partially smothered. There's a whistle down the ground. Parks pleads his innocence, but Kyle Waitman will kick from 45 metres out to cut the margin back to 7 points. I can't say I saw it. Just heard the whistle and saw Waitman on the deck.
Well, he's got his tail up as Kyle Waitman. 2 goals in this quarter, 3 for the game. Can the little man kick it over 50 metres here?
Needs everything. From 48.5, it's going all the way, but not on target. Throw for a behind, and it's 12 points the difference. Round the grounds, Port Melbourne working their way back against Frankston. It's 13 points the margin there. The 30-minute mark of the third quarter. Long ball from O'Dwyer out towards the wing. Ellison couldn't get a handle on it. Tui can't keep it in play. There's some tired bodies out there, and they've got every right to be tired. It's a hot, sapping day here at Highgate Recreation Reserve.
Really important stoppage here. Watch for Fordham and Collier Dawkins for Williamstown. Can they use their experience to their advantage?
Petrick and Keogh. Keogh with the tap, picked up here by Rigoni. Tried to duck under the tackle.
Oh, okay.
Well, the umpire fell for it. So Rigoni gets up and moves it quickly. Has a bounce, no one coming at him. Sets it up towards full forward. The sit here is with Parks, but the mark!
Wow.
Waitman! Well, Parks set himself, but Waitman just camped where the ball was. Well, this to make it a 1-goal game. Kyle Waitman for goal number 4. 35 out straight in front, likes it, got it! Here come the Lions!
We've got ourselves a game of football here, Brendan. Who would have thought 5 minutes ago when Williamstown extended their lead to 20 points, we thought it was game over. I was calling it. You'd started packing up your laptop. I'd finished off my Canadian club and was ready to get in the car.
3 last quarter goals later from Kyle Waitman, and we've got a grandstand finish. Coburg has not won a game in 22 matches.
But full credit, their ball use has been excellent the last 5 minutes. They've been able to hit up that lead-up player. They've been able to make Finbar O'Dwyer think twice about just sagging off in the goal square. They've been smart. They've done it well.
Let me tell you something, Dan. The last time they won, I was there. They beat Geelong at Ballarat late in 2022. Can they do it again?
Here we go.
Keogh out of the middle. Kicks inside 50, O'Dwyer. Who else but Finn O'Dwyer? And he will pop it out to the pocket, and Greiser will not hurry. The umpires are going to have to be right on them as the experienced Seagulls milk the clock here. We've gone 29 minutes all but. Big fly Ellison puts the fist down. Josh Brown just bangs it on the boot, kicks to open space close to the boundary line. It bounces on the line. Oh, the boundary says it's out on the full. The fieldy, I reckon, would have paid deliberate anyway.
Oh, no, look, the rule is you have to try and at least keep the ball in play, and it was quite clear he was kicking it into Campbellfield. So,
yeah, but it was called out of bounds on the full, which it was not.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless.
Here's Beasley. Sends it back towards centre-half forward. Deng. Floats in from the side. Big-time grab from the debutant.
Yeah, good on him. Look, he hasn't had much of the footy in terms of marks, hand passes, etc. He's been strong in the ruck, but he stood up in that instance as that goal, Deng.
29-30. Just pops it up. Wants the big men to fly for it. Ebengay couldn't. Hold on. He loves going up there. Beasley pops it into the middle of the ground. Parks makes the spoil. Chance
they're on
hand
here.
pass out Beasley. Here's a chance now. Kick forward McKenzie. Bouncing ball. Waitman in front of Greiser. Greiser up to the task. Greiser up to the task. Gets it over the line. 30 minutes are gone. Scores are level here at Highgate.
So Coburg are giving Williamstown that extra player back. In fact, yeah, they've still got one player back.
4 goals apiece in this quarter, so you think it'll go a bit longer. Here's McKenzie, receive from Brommel. From 40.
I can't believe it! Oh,
He's kicked the goal!
He's kicked the goal,
He's
Brendan!
kicked the goal!
Wow!
Outstanding! Scores are level at Highgate.
I'm screeching like a banshee. I can't believe it. They gave them the extra man of the contest. Williamstown had one back there. Will they be ruining that?
Oh, Tom McKenzie. Oh, and the ruckman Deng's coming off with the cramp. This is huge.
Yeah, he looks like Forrest Gump there, coming off Akol Deng.
31 minutes.
He got the braces off his legs. Wow, I can't believe this, Brendan. 20 points, 5-6 minutes ago.
31 minutes gone and 15 seconds. Siren could go at any moment. It's been a 9-goal quarter.
What do you do here? Do you actually try and win it?
You try and win it. My word, you do. When you haven't won for this long, you go for it. Tap down by Keogh. Who's going to come through now?
Oh.
The bounce favours them. Fordham up to the task. Gives it off now. There is Stoddart. Sends the kick long towards half forward. Who's going to get there first? Ball to ground level. Trying to get through. Can't do so. And it's going to be tied up. Ball up at the wrong end of the ground for the Lions, but the right for the Seagulls. They've given up a 20-point lead in time on of the last quarter. Coburg sniffing it. One down by Keogh. Pack converges. It'll be a ball up again.
I think they'll be happy just to get stoppage after stoppage here with Coburg.
32-18. Umpire puts it up in the air. Ellison won the tap. Gadsby out of the pack.
Oh!
It's a mark. Is it paid? It's paid. Playing in front. And a shot at goal to win the game for Jack Toner. Just the scramble. And you play in front and you get the rewards, and all he has to do is score. 33 minutes gone. Siren sounds. Wow. It's going to be heartbreak for Coburg. It's going to be relief for Williamstown. The Seagulls have created the great escape right here at Highgate Reserve on Good Friday. Heartbreak, as I said, for the Lions. Williamstown win, an absolute thriller by 6 points.
Gee, what a game of VFL football. It went up and down and oscillated all game. I can't believe that result. Well done to Williamstown.